guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing my summer reading wrap up. Alright, so I have my little popsicle ice cream apparel on for this video, and we're going to be talking about the books that I read over summer. I have not been doing reading wrap ups, I think, since last year, other than inside of reading vlogs. It has been an extremely funky reading year. I have not read a lot outside of readathons. There have been some family things, some health things, some travel things that have just kind of gotten in the way, but I have enough books that I can talk to you guys about outside of readathons. So this is going to be everything that I've read June through August, not including Mermaid Marathon or the TV themed readathon, because at the end of every reading vlog I do a little mini wrap up for everything that I read. We're gonna go from least favorite to favorite. I actually had 2 DNFs this summer. Both were the first DNFs of the year. So first was Castaways by Brian Keene. I did a books like Survivor recommendation video, and I wanted to read as many as I could to give you guys some more recommendations. I'll link it up in the cards as well as down below in the description. I want you guys to know every single recommendation video, unless I state otherwise, I have actually read the books. Almost never will read or post about books as a recommendation if I haven't read them. I won't just make these kinds of videos or these kinds of posts without having read them, just to make sure I know that they are actually appropriate for what I'm recommending. Sometimes books will be on these lists. It'll be like, mermaid books you'll love, and it won't be a mermaid book. It'll be like a siren or a witch siren or something that's not what you're wanting. So I always make sure that when I do a recommendation video or recommendation posts that it's something that I have read. Of course, do new release recommendations and book hauls and TBRs, but anytime it's like a true rec video, it's something that I have read unless I state otherwise. Anyway, I tried this one. I wasn't loving it at first. A lot of people do love it, so I may go back to it at some point, but it's like a true horror, and there are these contestants on an island trying to survive, and then things take a dangerous turn with like the tribal people and cannibalism and the other contestants. It's an older book, so I felt like it had a lot of like sexist dark humor in it, but that also may just be on purpose to kind of showcase what contestants or producers are like. I'm not entirely sure. And then I heard the horror parts get pretty intense. I'm not really into like cannibalism for good reason, so I decided just to DNF it because there were other books that I thought I would wind up liking more for that video. I sadly DNF'd The Vanishing Cherry Blossom Bookshop. This was one of the Barnes & Noble $5 cafe picks. I was so excited because it's like shiny, I don't know if you can tell, and so pretty, and it looks so cute and cozy. And I started this one for my flower readathon, and then we wound up having to go out of town last minute, and I just now finished it. It's very short. This is not a bad book. In fact, it is extremely well written and thoughtful. However, I have found with a lot of these certain style of cute, cozy looking books with like these magical elements to them, they're more about like grieving and loss and overcoming tragedy than they are like the cozy elements, and I'm more here for the vibes overall. I don't mind a thoughtful, like heartwarming book, but the balance has to be there, and I just felt like we were more following the lives of these characters and what they were going through than we were like the cozy bookshop. So this is basically a bookshop that appears during cherry blossom season to those who need it. So we follow, I think, 3 or 4 different characters throughout the seasons, and each one is going through something. The first one, her mother has died and she doesn't have a good relationship with her, and she has to go through her stuff and plan her funeral, and she's just having a horrible time. And then the bookshop appears and helps her. And then the second story was following the old man in a retirement home, and he has a little bit of dementia and he can't remember certain things and is really struggling. And I just am not in the headspace for this. So, and I just wanted more of like the cozy bookshop and the elements and the vibes and the food and all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to scare people off of this one, but it just wasn't for me. So DNF. Then I read Escape by Stephen Fishbach, again for that Survivor recommendation video. This is actually written by a Survivor contestant, and Stephen so kindly sent me a copy of this for my TV giveaway, which was my TV themed readathon. However, I want to be honest and fair. He didn't send me a copy to review or anything. He just sent me one for the giveaway. I just didn't love this as much as I wanted, and I wasn't sure what it exactly wanted to be. So we're following this like washed up reality show contestant as he goes basically on a show like Survivor called Escape, and he's with these other contestants and they have to survive, but you're getting a look into his personal life and also this one particular producer that's under fire for something bad that she has done, and a lot of behind the scenes look. This is listed under satire, but to me the satire books are like ridiculous or like over the top silly and funny and like cheesy, and this one doesn't read like that. It reads kind of dark and heavy. A lot of the things that the things that the characters are going through are kind of messed up. The things the producers do are really messed up, but not like in the fun way that I wanted it to be. The writing was good and I was like invested in the story, but I couldn't figure out what exactly we were supposed to get from it, and the ending was a little bit infuriating. So I'm giving it a 3-star overall, and not one I would recommend to too many people. It has to be a very specific type of person. So sadly, it just didn't fully work for me. Okay, then I buddy read the new Magics and Misfits anthology from Audible / Amazon. A bunch of our favorite authors writing for it. So me and my friend Summer did a buddy read and we read one story a day. I did it via audiobook because you could buy the full collection and each audiobook has a different narrator and a different author. I enjoyed Sarah Beth Durst and Heather Fawcett's stories, of course. I think Heather's was my favorite. I wish we could have a full-length novel of it. All of the stories follow some kind of magic or mystery. However, there were 2 stories I felt like didn't go with the anthology. There was one that had like a historical Western 1800s element, and while it was cool and I liked reading about the magic system in that world, I don't feel like it fit with the rest of the book. And then there was kind of like a true horror story as the final one, which I loved the narrator for, so he may have deterred my thoughts and made them a little bit better than they were. It also dealt with like grief and healing, but in the way that I didn't mind. Had a lot of magic, had a lot of gory things in it, but I don't know, I really enjoyed it and I was interested in it. But however, those 2 I felt like didn't fit with the rest of them, which were kind of silly and cozy and fun. So I don't think this was a very good anthology overall. I'm gonna give it like a 3-star. I would mostly recommend reading Heather's. I enjoyed Sarah's, but unless you just love short stories, it's just kind of just there. It's just, there's not like a whole lot of substance to it. So I gave this one a 3-star, but I had a really good time buddy reading it. Then I read Selkie by Natalie Grunder. I read this one before Mermaid Marathon. I was hoping to do like a Selkie book recommendation video and I just didn't get to enough books in time. So this one is basically about a woman that is a Selkie and she kind of gets trapped with a human on land and gets forced into being a wife and a mother, and she can't find her pelt to escape back to the ocean. Selkies are basically seals that can shed their skin and become human when they go on land, but if someone captures your skin, you're kind of stuck where you are or you're bound to that person. I was really not liking the first half of this because it had some darker themes with like abusive marriages and toxic relationships and the hardships of motherhood. I was wanting more of like the mythology and the lore with a story attached to it. The second half, she kind of finds a new life and you get new characters and new friendships and there's some more coziness to it. So I felt a little disjointed. I felt like the first half was going one way and the second half went another way. So again, we're sitting at kind of like a 3-star. I don't feel like a lot of people are going to love this one. Overall, it was a little bit of a tough read, but it ended in less dark of a way than I expected. Then I read The Sacrifice by Rin Chipeko. I read this one to prepare for my TV themed readathon as I wanted some more books on my recommendation list. So I did a reality TV book recommendation list. I think I included this one in the end. I'm not sure. But be sure and go and check that one out because I have a ton of really good books that have a reality TV element, which was very fun. So this one is set on this tropical island that is rumored to have some kind of sleeping god that requires sacrifices to give somebody unimaginable powers, and this TV crew from Hollywood is coming to make a document series about it, and they coerce this local teen to show them around the island, but the teen knows the myth and the lore and is warning them that there is real danger here and that they need to be careful, but of course they're like arrogant Hollywood people and they do what they want, and then crazy things start happening. This one is YA, it's a standalone. It's got true horror elements, like there are trees that like crawl up through people and eyeballs that pop out. For some reason it didn't bother me. It was like just fun enough and interesting enough that it wasn't scary, and the gory elements, again, just didn't bother me in this one, and I'm kind of a baby. There's a little bit of a romance. I really liked the twist at the end, and I just like Rin Chipeko. Like, this is my 4th or 5th book from this author, and I really enjoyed it. So I gave this one 4 stars. And then I read The Great Outdoors by Kayla Olson. This is one that I really wanted to get to for Hikeathon, but I couldn't get an arc of it in time. So I got an arc via NetGalley, and I'm trying to catch up on my arcs for next year because NetGalley is a place where you can request advanced reader copies. Usually they come in ebook form. You have a percentage score of what you have reviewed, so the more you request, the lower your score is going to be until you review them. So I'm trying to get caught up because while I don't like reading ebooks in general, I prefer physical or audio, I do like to get them specifically for readathon reasons, and I want my score to be high so that I will be accepted for the advanced copies if I do request them. So I wound up getting this one later after Hikeathon, and I'm always down for like a nature book. So this one follows our main character. She is wanting to change her life. She's gone through a breakup. Her boyfriend thinks that she is not very independent and can't really take care of herself as well as she thinks, or is not very resilient. So she signs up for this wilderness hike at this national park. I believe it's a fictional national park in here, led by this handsome tour guide with a bunch of other people. She is completely clueless. She doesn't bring hiking shoes. She brings a ceramic mug and coffee and nail polish. She's really girly, and she quickly learns the mistakes that she's made, but also influences the people around her, while we're also following our love interest, who is the tour guide, and he has been doing this for a long time, loves nature, loves the outdoors, has been dealing with his father's passing, and starts to fall for her. I thought this was really cute. I thought it was a hair too long, just a little bit, but I love that we were actually on the hike talking about the nature and the survival and the elements of it throughout a large portion of the book. Sometimes these kinds of premise of books will be very short about the hike or not have those like nature elements that I'm wanting, but they describe like the trees and the feeling of being outside at nighttime and connecting with people and disconnecting from your phone. Our main character being so clueless was a little bit annoying, but she did learn things about herself and like the right way to do things, which was kind of the point of the book. Like, anybody can do anything, even if you don't think you're that kind of person. You always should expand yourself and try new things because you never know what you're gonna fall in love with. And then I thought the romance was really cute. There was like a tiny bit of spice, very minimal, but I just had like a nice time with it. I thought the narrator was good, so out of 4 stars. And then lastly, I am so sad that I do not have a copy to show you, is The Thorn Queen by Sasha Payton Smith. I have ordered the special edition from Fairy Loot of this because this was almost my favorite book of last year. I had like 3 books that it tied, and I ordered the special edition to go with my original copy, and it isn't in yet. Like, it's still coming, and I want to show you guys so bad. This is the sequel to The Rose Bargain, which I reread in May to prepare for this book. This is set in the late 1800s. We've got kind of like a Regency era vibe, a Bridgerton type vibe, but we are set in this fae world. So this fae queen has ruled over the country for 400 years, and she's a little bit of a strict ruler, but she's also helpful. Every year you can bargain with the queen to give up something for her to give you some kind of gift or answer a question. Our main character's sister, something bad happened when she did it last year, so she is set out to redeem the family because they're kind of looked down upon in society now. But then the queen decides that instead this year she's going to have a competition to marry her eldest fae son, and the girls will have to sign their names in blood, and when you're out of the competition, you don't win, you could be in dire circumstances, you could kind of be outcast from society, but if you do win, you can have everything. And so our main character, because she's already in a desperate place anyway, signs up to do this competition and to try and win the prince's heart. It's got a little bit of like Selection, Bridgerton, but then like Cruel Prince vibes, but then it's completely its own thing. The narrator for this one is so good that I did the audio, then my friend started reading it, and I started the audiobook immediately over. And I just sat in my bed and listened to it, which I don't normally do. I normally do things with my hands when I do audiobook stuff. It was incredible. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was tied for my favorite book of last year. And so I was so excited and nervous for the second book, but I got to it. I made it a priority. Same narrator, thank goodness. This was even better than the first book. It was different because we don't have that competition anymore because we're taking place after the events of book 1, which had an epic young adult romance, like pretty much no spice, like maybe just a hint, but so much yearning and angst and like true drama and romance. And so the second book follows the aftermath of that major cliffhanger from book one, and it was so good. We meet some new characters that we fall in love with, and just the way that they did everything with the family and the romance and the world and how everything ended, it was so beautiful, you guys. I loved it so much. This is like a top duology for me. I need to read Sasha Payton's Witch series because I'm sure that I will love it as well, but can't recommend this one enough. 5 bajillion stars, and I think she has a new book coming out next year that looks really good as well, so I'm very excited for it. Okay, so that is everything that I read between June and August. I'm really excited because we're going to start reading fall spooky season books here really soon. My readathon announcement's going to come very soon, and this is like my time of year when I thrive because I love reading those like darker, slightly spookier books. Let me know if you've read any of these or if I put any of them on your immediate TBR. Let me know how your summer reading month went. Don't forget, if you want to check out the rest of the books I read, I have mini wrap-ups at the end of my Mermaid Marathon reading vlog, as well as my Randomathon reading vlog, which is not out yet, but it will be out very soon, which was my TV themed readathon. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at The Bright Side Girl, as I post tons of bookish content, bookish recommendations, all kinds of fun stuff on there. I host giveaways, all kinds of things. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time on The Bright Side.